Okay, Nistonitaniku Apisomaka. My name is William Singer III, and I'm from the Blood Tribe. I'm an artist, entrepreneur, and activist. I believe that we need change in this country, and that it'll take the people to do that. It may sound cliche, but the people have the power, and I always bring that up. And but a lot of people don't share that because, like I said, there's two different worlds now. There's the world that I come from. I managed to survive it, the residential school system. My wife is also a product of it. And then having to deal with the younger generation who are more, I guess, progressive, political. But at the same time, too, like how do you explain this whole movement to our people, our elders in our community who see that our economic development is a way to better this reserve, but at the same time, at what cost? We want to move on, but at the same time, when you see the oil exploitation on reserves, there are no jobs. They say there's jobs, and we've been told that. They come in and say there's going to be jobs, money will be flowing in, but it's not like that. So far, there's been about 4 wells that have been drilled on the reserve. And the only jobs that I've seen are just guys sitting on the road with a sign that say yield or slow down. And those are just temporary jobs. And so that's the thing that we sort of want to sort of I guess our 2 cents into a lot of that, because it is true. It doesn't really benefit us in a way that we are told, but at the same time too, like, we have to understand that our elected leaders are sort of bound by the Indian Act, and that they think they're doing what's good for us, because I believe that they've really got no choice, and that we are here trying to convince them otherwise, and saying, well, don't be afraid of that man. Don't be afraid of Harper. Like, stand up to him. Like, but it's easy to say that. It's easy to say a lot of these things to do them, but I do them. Like, I walk the talk. But the thing about that is it's tough, because now, going back to this whole movement where, like, our tribal leaders, they support us. They'll join us in our rallies. They allow us to print our articles and stories in the reserve publications, which is something that is kind of unheard of, because back 20 years ago, you have the other movements on the reserve. You would never see an article of them promoting what they're doing. So at the same time, there's this whole thing where how can you balance that, and that's where I believe we're kind of at that point right now. That whole the beginning of this movement was just like, everybody was riding it, and all that excitement and that power, and it's sort of slowed down to where, like, what can be done, what else can we do? And the what we do is just continue to create awareness and educate, because not only is it about the bill C-45 and also the other bills, but this is our environment, and that's what it all ties into. This is what we need to do. So it's like I tell my wife, it's strange how, like, at this day, I never thought I'd ever see the day in my lifetime where I have to be fighting for my rights, where I have to worry while, like, I'm going to have to be paying for everything. And based on that, those were agreements that our chiefs had made with the Canadian government at the time of the signing of the treaty. Okay, well, if this is going to happen, we'll share the land. This is what, and that was what it's agreed upon until the sun shines, the rivers flow, and the grass grows. I just never thought I'd see the day where I'd be fighting, trying to get others to understand this is happening. You know, our elders had this saying. It's called "iskumot." That means there's gonna become a time where everything's gonna be taken from us, and that's what is happening today. And we're starting to see those changes through our social system on the reserve, our education, the EI. I was on EI earlier this year, and I was affected by it. I ended up getting cut off. So people are starting to see that our dental, we're starting to have to pay for the partial payment of our of a right that was given to us that we should have until all this is here. The sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow. So those are things that I think also like I think that scare people, and at the same time I'm trying to get people not to be scared to stand up, but at the same time like how long is it going to take, if any, if we can make change?